the verse, full of unknown danger, untold species, vast areas to explore. But there is one thing that I am particularly excited to do in the future of Star Citizen, and that, my friends, is find somewhere to call home. Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve, otherwise known as Pin, and today I would like to talk to you about the Pioneer and colonisation, along with land claims. Now, when I started to do a little bit of research on this ship, it quickly unravelled a string that was taking me down a rabbit hole. Now, Originally, I was just going to cover the ship, but I feel like we can't do that without talking about land claims and colonisation, as they are intertwined. This ship will be super important in the future, arguably bringing one of the most sought after features into Star Citizen, especially for me. I'm very much looking forward to the game loop that is colony building. Colonisation is going to be epic, and this ship will certainly be at the forefront of that game loop. I'm very much looking forward to it. Now, there is a lot to discuss, okay? Logistically, with the ship, how it perform, game loops it opens, business opportunities, how can we deploy it? Will there be other vehicles like this to compete with Consolidated Outland? Almost certainly. So there is going to be a lot to discuss. It's going to be a tricky video to cover because there's quite a lot to talk about without getting misguided. I fear, however, that this video will also ask a lot more questions than it will answer, and there will be a lot of conjecture because there is a lot of possibility to extrapolate from this ship and what it brings to the Star Citizen table. So, our order of march will be, we will first take a look at the Pioneer itself, okay? Then we will talk about the land claim, how that will work, how it might affect your decision making. And then of course we'll take a look at colonisation, what I would like to see, where we can go with it in the future, and just how important it will be to use Pioneers and other ships to create basically your dream colony. So let's start with some details of the Pioneer. Okay, here we have some of the details for the Pioneer. A lot of it is to be confirmed. Obviously, it's not in the game yet. It's a long way off, I imagine. So it's a manufacturing ship. It's a capital size ship. Crew 4 to 8. I would double that, and that's my rule. 600 SCU. We have some prices here. We have a length of 200 meters, a beam of 125 meters, height 30 meters, and a combat speed of 85 meters per second, and a mass which is quite frankly ridiculous. On the right hand side of the screen here, you can see a list of all the components if that's what you are interested in, what it might be getting in the future. Again, this is all to be confirmed. And then we have the avionics. So we have a large radar and 3 medium computers, which is all going to be very important stuff. Things could change though, so don't take this as gospel. Okay guys, let's now take a look at the hologram variant of this ship. And the design. I kind of like it. It's asymmetrical. It's a very big ship, as we know. It's industrial. It does scream industrial. Don't like the paint scheme on it. And if I had to describe it, it kind of looks clumsy. Love the bridge. Like how you can see across the whole front of the ship. We have the landing pad there, which is going to be quite important, I imagine. But yeah, clumsy, but cool. Do not like the paint scheme. But I do like it. I do like it for how it is. But what do you guys think of this ship? Do you own it? What are you planning to do with it? There's going to be plenty of room for your thoughts and comments on the ship, so feel free. Get your opinions in, because I do read them all. Right, so what we have here is a schematic of the vessel, and what we will do is we will start from the left and work our way over to the right and go into some detail of the vessel. Okay, starting from the top left, we have well stocked, the cargo bay. When you're leaving civilization behind, having plenty of room for the supplies is a must. The Pioneer's expansive stores can not only accommodate equipment and gear, but also the materials required for fabrication. Then we have the habitation area, home away from home. During the long flight to the frontier, the Pioneer provides comfortable living space for crew and passengers alike. Safe and secure, referencing the turrets. Multiple turrets provide a comprehensive field of fire to protect the Pioneer in transit or planetside. Then we have the bridge, positive outlook. The Pioneer's elevated bridge provides an eagle-eye view, making it an ideal command centre to get your new colony started. Extremely important, I would agree. Rocky start. Consolidated Outlands put considerable effort into engineering a landing system that could handle the wide variety of terrain and environments the Pioneer is expected to encounter. Top right, we have engineering, built to last. Engineers for the Pioneer performed rigorous independent tests to make sure they selected the most durable components they could, minimizing the need for emergency repairs while out in the wild. Then we have outpost assembly. Here is where the magic happens. The advanced fabrication plant uses cutting-edge manufacturing techniques that allow the Pioneer to craft and deploy outposts on site. And then finally, getting around. The Pioneer's utility landing pad makes it easy to coordinate with smaller scout and support vehicles. So quite a lot of features on this ship, and important ones at that. It is a very technical monster, this machine, as you can see by the image. Now what we're going to do, guys, is have a glimpse inside from some of the concept images that were drawn up many years ago. So here is the bridge, arguably the most important area of this particular ship, because you're going to need to see where you are placing your components and fabricated items to build your colony. So as you can see, it is a very busy area. We have 4 seats at the front with crew members. We have multiple crew members in and around the back. We have sort of an elevated position here, which I'd imagine would be the captain's seat. And I hope he's got a master's degree in engineering. Because is he going to be in charge of deploying the components, your fabricated builds for your colony, or is it the 4 at the front, or are they responsible for flying and navigation? We can see we have the nav table at the back there, planning the building, I would imagine, selecting the land, where they're going to land, and how to deploy their colony. So there's going to be a lot of coordination needed. Being in an org will be super useful, but inside I'm not overly keen on all of the orange. It seems prominent in large ships, but but that's just me. You guys might like it. I just find it a little bit too intrusive for my eye. We get it. It's industrial. You don't need to coat everything in orange. But overall, a very roomy bridge, and I do like the design of it. That open plan, the visibility is going to be excellent as the bridge is located towards the rear of the ship, overlooking the front and the manufacturing process. So pretty well thought out design there, I think. Here we move on to one of the habitation areas. I think we can see a couple of beds there in the background, so that would be for the crew, obviously, to rest and relax when they're not doing engineering things. But yeah, doesn't look particularly cozy, pretty cold, very spacious though. These guys at the back are fist pumping because they're the bestest of friends. You know, they just get on like you should hear some of the stories of when they go out drinking. It's amazing. But yeah, it serves a purpose. It doesn't look particularly comfortable. I think on the right hand side they look like storage bins, maybe mini lockers to me. That would be my guesstimate there. But yeah, overall looks really well lit. I do kind of like it. A little bit dull in some respects. But yeah, habitation then. Here we have, I think, sort of a communal area here. And it's in 2 layers. It's like a 2-step thing here, which I really like. This is cool, this area. So we have an elevated position where we can see crew members in the kitchen, I believe. Galley area, there's a table there. There's always somebody leaning on these images. There's always someone leaning against something. It drives me up the wall. So we have the kitchen area at the top here. And below that seems to be a seating area and a large plasma TV or something there with the crew just chilling, catching up on space news and all that sort of stuff. Very large area. I think that is probably a fairly decent place to sit and recreate with your fellow space friends while you're building your dream colony. I don't have any sort of objections to the design of this. Again, maybe just the colour scheme. And then here, of course, we have what looks like it will be a very complicated and complex engine room. Look at the components, look at all the moving parts. There seems to be quite a lot of intricate, delicate moving parts, but it does look really cool and very sci-fi. So yeah, really enjoy the look of this particular engine room. Looks very complex, technical. Only 1 workstation though, which is kind of surprising. I'm sure there's probably more located in and around this room, because it by no means is it going to be small, right? This is a very large ship, but just the 1 workstation I think is bizarre. Lots of cables running around on the floor as well, and not too much orange in here, which is nice, not to have all of that bloody orange everywhere. But yeah, pretty cool, I think you'll agree. Right, so here we have some of the design steps and concepts. So Mr. Roberts likes to have a selection of ships, and so this ship has gone through various iterations before finally being decided on how it looks today. I actually like H for hotel, because when it's closed, that is very reminiscent of a certain ship that you find on a certain franchise, which let me know which one you think it is in the comments. But yeah, I do like H, and here are some more designs. And I mean, bright yellow, just no thank you, we don't want that. Put that in the bin immediately, please. We don't like that. So it has gone through quite an extensive design phase, it would seem, especially from the things I've been digging through to sort of get some history on this particular ship. It's very impressive, the journey it has taken. Okay, next up we have some sort of basic functionality sketches that sort of help us understand how this ship is going to operate. As you can see, it has 2 arms that tend to extend. The landing pad, you can see from this particular image, seems to retract, and that underneath that is on-the-fly resupply, which I like. That is nice. We have the exterior walkway and crow's nest. We have the 2-man turrets sort of scratched on at the top of the vessel towards the rear, and 2 more at the front on the sort of winglet areas. Whether or not they end up there, I doubt. I don't remember seeing any. Then we have some animations on the right and some drawings on the left of how this ship, just how complex it is going to be. So the top right is the component fabrication arms placer, I guess, and on the right is a bit more detail on how the arms and this thing opens and shuts. So just that alone makes this ship extremely complex. Referring to the image on the left, look how intricate that is. These 2 sort of, I'm going to call them arms. There's a hell of a lot of work involved in putting this ship together, and I can imagine operating this thing, you are going to feel like you are in a factory for real, because the detail is ridiculous and the lengths they're going to. And the center here where it says manufacturing towards the rear of the ship there, it's been referred to as the magic box, because the engine can't support showing all of the things being built that you're trying to build for your colony. If it was me personally, lore team, listen up, I would just call that a super advanced 3D printer. You know, we're 1,000 years in the future. Let's just say it's an incredibly advanced 3D printer and not a magic box. Okay, let's just go with that. That sort of gets rid of it. Let's just pretend it's a massive 3D box and it prints your components that you need for your colony, and your design can be printed. Why not? I think that's a good solution. I think that could be incorporated into the lore. I don't see why not. But as you can see, it's a very vast, complex ship. A lot of moving parts. We sort of have a workflow diagram here of the ship taking materials, going through the manufacturing arms where there's going to be robots and all this sort of stuff. And this is a animation of how, so it comes out of the 3D printer, as I will now refer to it from now on, and then places it down onto the ground. Boom. That's your first bit of colony established. So very complex and technical ship. And in this particular image here, these clips here, you really do get a sense of scale. I'm just going to pause it here for a second. This ship will be massive, and there are things they've put in here to make it feel like a factory. Pay attention to the sort of cylindrical objects in there. What will they hold? Fuel, oil, hydraulic fluid. It could be any number of things, but it does, again, look at the detailing they're going to, the cabling running through the ship, the scaffolding, not scaffolding, the girders, and things like that. This ship will be massive, and I really can't wait to get inside one and explore this ship. It's just going to be immense to walk around this vessel. It really is extremely complex, very big, and just awesome. It's a shame about the paint scheme, but it is what it is. It's going to be I can't wait to get building my own colony with this particular vessel. I really can't. So here we have modules. So we have the bridge located at the rear. Okay, and again, I do like the fact that it is directly overlooking the manufacturing process. That's very important. We have habitation below the bridge, and then we have the landing gear, which again is going to be very important because they have to be able to support the weight, landing pad and cargo and additional cargo. For me personally, I would like to have materials as my additional cargo, because I imagine transporting your particular materials is going to be a pain in the arse. Staging areas, again, in the arms, so still they're quite large themselves, and then the manufacturing area is just massive. Staging and manufacturing. So there you go. There's an idea of just how busy it's going to be inside the Pioneer. And for a sense of scale, size does matter. So we have a Mustang, the Drake Caterpillar, and then of course this behemoth which dwarfs everything. It is a very large and interesting ship, and I can't wait to get inside. What do you guys think? You excited? Because I know I certainly am. Right, let's now move on to land claims. Stake your claim. Okay, so let's talk about staking your claim then. So when the Pioneer went on sale, it did come with one of these geotech planetary beacons, allowing you to stake a claim of land. Now, the verse is massive and there is plenty of room for everybody to colonize, and it certainly will be much easier in the future when we get more systems, however long that might take. So the benefit of claiming under the UEE is you would go to them, apply for a license and say, look, I found a bit of land, it's really cool, I want it. You pay them, you get gratification, and also a certificate saying that you own this particular plot of land. And what that gives you in return is, if you do it in UEE space, you will get protection from the UEE, and anyone that attacks your base or commits a crime in and around your land will automatically be given a crime stat and then hunted down by the local authorities. That's my understanding of it. That doesn't mean, however, that you can't claim outside of UEE. Of course you can, but you will not have the protection of the UEE. I'm not too bothered about that. I think if I found a backwater planet in the middle of nowhere, there's a good chance that no one's going to find me anyway. And if I'm a pirate and I want to make a pirate base, which is certainly something that many pirate orgs will be looking at, finding those bases will be difficult, right? So it's entirely down to you on how you sort of decide what's best for you and your base. In return, you'll get something similar to this. This is just a rough idea, I guess. It's like a certificate. I would like to see like a hologram or something on your land displaying the UEE, indicating to anyone and everyone, you know, a universal sign that your base is protected by the UEE. And that way, if you're an aggressor, you can either risk it or go, right, well, I'll go try and find someone else then it isn't got that protection. I don't want the crime stat. That is just something I would like to see. But again, very nice game mechanic, and there is much to discuss with the colony side and your profession, let's say. So we can have multiple colonies, hydroponics, farming, mining, pirates, outlaws, whatever it might be. There's going to be something for everyone, and that intrigues me. What about a base that does a little bit of everything? A military base. There's just so much choice and decision making behind this. So let's now talk about what your colony might look like. Now, we got a good glimpse into some of the design work being put into the modules required. We know that once the Pioneer is going to lay down a particular module, that we ourselves are going to have to connect them, which opens up more questions. Okay, are we going to have to do it with tractor beams? Could we equip something like a grey cat rock with a tractor beam to help construction? Will there be a dedicated ground vehicle with the similar sort of philosophy as the Pioneer to help construct and connect your colony and base together? So there's a lot of questions regarding how the colony building will be on the ground. Now, me personally, I kind of like the idea of having a couple of ground vehicles that are construction-based ground vehicles that share the same sort of tailored design in terms of colony building, right? I also like the idea of maybe having a tool or tools, plural, that give us that ability to connect, alter, adjust, repair the base that we've created. Now, the stuff we saw over CitizenCon was awesome, and it really did sort of pique my interest, because all of this stuff that you can see now looks awesome, okay? And it depends on what type of colony you're going for. Let's say you're a miner, your profession is mining, that's the loop for you, you enjoy it, then You find a planet, it's got excellent resources, and you decide to make just a mining base. What materials will you need for that? Can we change the materials to suit a particular need? All of these sort of questions are a long way off from being answered. But some of the examples we have are, in this particular clip, we can see we've got sort of tanks for water, solar power panels, various habitation. We've got hydroponic pods there if you want it to be a farmer. It's just endless possibility. We have a communication tower. So the whole thing is going to have to be very well thought out, and it is also going to require, the amount of resources it's going to take for you to build this, I imagine, is going to be very expensive, very extortionate. There's a lot of risk involved. Once the Pioneer is down on land, we have to think about its protection. And they have said, the devs did say in the past, that they wanted the Pioneer, when it's working, to be seen from orbit, i.e. a big bright light, lots of smoke and all that sort of stuff. So there's so much to consider. But the designs that we got from CitizenCon do look very intriguing. I do like the look of all of these. Will we be able to change the appearance of these paint schemes? There's so much to talk about regarding the personalization of your base, because that's what we want, right? We want to explore, of course we do, but ultimately, for me personally, I want to find somewhere to call my own and operate it to the best of my ability, and just have somewhere that's going to be amazing and that you can put your own personal touches on. It is certainly going to be a very important feature of Star Citizen. Arguably one of the most important, from my standpoint at least. The other thing to think about as well is, are we going to be able to build roads? Are we going to get to a point where we could have quite a substantially sized base and need to run maybe trucks from a certain location to another to transfer materials and goods and all other sorts of products you might be selling or trading or things like that? Maybe we could have ground vehicles that are on wheels dedicated to repair. Repair vehicles on the ground would be super useful. So certainly a lot to consider, and that is why I'm quite optimistic and excited at the same time at the possibility of the colonies and what it implicates to you as a player in the verse, and just how much in-depth fun can we have with colony building and the potential that it holds. Now, some other questions that I have are, do these same principles apply to the interior of colony design, right? So how do we go about establishing the interiors? Now, as you can see, again, at CitizenCon, we got quite an in-depth look at some of the concept images they had for the colony building side of the game. A lot of detail on things that would otherwise you wouldn't really think about. Now, I like the idea of deploying the base, building the base, and then sort of putting my personal touch on said base. How would we do that? I would like to think that there would be some sort of shop, an interior design shop or store that would sell you maybe a blueprint or something similar to that, so that when you buy said blueprint, you can apply it to your base and it could be tailored to your particular profession. So, for example, let's pretend I'm a pirate and I'm in a pirate org and I want my base to resemble somewhere that's sort of desolate, outlawish. Would I be able to then take that blueprint and apply it to the modules that I have built on my planet, to make it have that pirate feel? I think it's possible. It's certainly possible, and something I would love to see implement. Again, this could apply to any of your particular trades. If you're a farmer, you'd probably want something with plants and stuff around, I imagine. Or, if you're a miner, or a trader, or whatever it is that you're into, you should be able to reflect in the colony you're building. That's sort of my take home from that. I'm not sure how they would implement the interior design, but I hope they come up with sort of like a floor plan that you can purchase and equip to your particular colony. Let's now think about our decision making process when it comes to trying to establish a setting, a foothold on a planet to build our base. So, things I'd be looking out for, and again, it will vary with what profession you're into, or if you're not particularly bothered, maybe there are things that we need to look out for. So, for example, do we need to find a planet with a water source? Again, could be very important. What's the weather like? What's the climate like? Is it hostile? What species are there? What's the fauna? Are there minerals we can harvest? Is it a self-sustaining planet? Will we rely on traders for food, medical supplies? All of this sort of stuff. Can we build a science station to research all of these things we're discovering? And it is heavily going to impact your decision making, but I would suggest it would. If you're a pirate, probably not as much, because you will thrive on the misery of others, which is fair enough in my point of view. But there is certainly a lot to consider when planning where you're going to explore, why you're exploring there, what sort of minerals, artifacts are you looking for? Are you looking for unique trade items? Are you looking for the raw, expensive, wealthy minerals? Are you looking for a quantanium rich planet? And there's so much to go into your decision making that if you're in an org, I imagine lots of you are going to have input on where to build your colony and why you're building it there. Because once it's down, I doubt very much you're going to be willing to uproot and move because something didn't pan out the way you did. You know, I think you really are going to have to think very carefully about how much it's going to cost you, how much time and effort it's going to cost in terms of building your base, then sufficiently running it. There's a lot to consider, but it's all decision making that I cannot wait to experience, to be honest. And the possibilities, like I said numerous times now, are going to be epic and endless, and it will certainly make Star Citizen very in-depth and immersive once we get to this point in the game. Now, a lot of this video, guys, was pure speculation and conjecture, but I just kind of felt like the Pioneer wasn't enough to talk about because it's intertwined with land stakes and the colonisation. What if there are two rival orgs fighting over the same piece of land? What happens then? Colony defense, how important is that going to be? I would imagine very, especially if there's an aggressive pirate org knocking around somewhere in a rich planet full of quantanium, luring miners in and stripping them of all of their wares. And most importantly, will we get an army of Picos? So that's going to wrap up my video on the Pioneer, my thoughts on colony building and land stake claims. There's a lot of unanswered, but the hope and just pure enjoyment I think we'll get from this is going to be amazing. Guys, please leave your comments down below, and if you enjoyed today's video, you know what buttons to press, and I will have more Star Citizen content en route to your location very soon. Cheers.